Has there ever been a Christmas in your life where you just wished you were dead?
No.
You just wish you were never born? I could probably think of like 4 Christmases.
Yeah, but you're like a Christmas hater.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, there's a reason why I'm a Christmas hater.
Yeah, I was never given that. What's the I never had a canon event that made me hate Christmas. You know, that's not part of my
canon event is that I've had like multiple wildly traumatic Christmases.
I like the
So,
idea.
like, Eric will only turn out into the person that the universe needs him to be if he fucking hates Christmas.
Yeah, I do like the sort of multiversal Grinch thing you've got going on. In every universe you go to, Eric just fucking hates Christmas no matter what.
I would like to think that.
There's like the one universe where like you don't like spooky stuff. You're really into Valentine's Day, but you still fucking hate Christmas.
That's a lot to unravel.
I just fucking go to town on St. Patty's, bro. Hate Christmas. Hate Christmas. Fucking Santa can suck my dick. Give me that green beer. No, any holiday goes, but fuck Christmas. It never. That's like the one dark. The like Batman is the Joker. Like that, the Christmas loving Eric will start showing up and killing all the other holiday hating or holiday loving Erics.
I want to meet the Flag Day Eric. I want to see what his life's like.
I don't, because that Eric becomes president and all at war breaks out.
He knows too much about like geography.
That's might be more dangerous than the Christmas Eric. The Flag Day Eric. Cool.
Oh man. I'll tell you what though, the Eric that can pull it together during the holidays is an Eric of immeasurable strength.
Mm-hmm.
I fear and envy that man.
We could really do some good work if we went and got breast cancer awareness, Eric.
Yeah,
he's probably doing work.
To meet the Eric who's also like super into titties to that point is also crazy. But at least he's doing good work.
Yeah, so that's the universe where you hate Christmas still, obviously. But then something like stop you didn't see that one ass while you were growing up that like
that changed my life.
Right?
Yeah.
And you just grew up a booby man. So much so that you that helped like fund the cure for breast cancer. Booby philanthropist Eric universe is
breast
really
cancer
funny.
awareness Eric is making me feel like unaccomplished as a human. So let's move on from him.
Breast cancer Eric. Hello there, you lads and you lasses, and welcome to The Devil's Cut, the podcast where all we want for Christmas is your blood. If it's spooky, scary, or merry, we're here to talk about it. I'm Matt Young, your resident manboy possessed by a devil, and I'm here with the skeleton everyone should want in their Christmas gift.
Eric Rossi.
I really threw Eric for a loop by switching it up with the Christmas.
The
tunes.
Yule lads and lasses got me. Oh, fuck, we still need to build our
Tio de Nadal.
Our Tio de Nadal.
We're gonna have to go over the week. This week we're gonna have to go to Lowe's or Home Depot.
Yeah.
You know,
if anyone doesn't know
we don't
about
want to call ourselves out of which one we prefer.
If anyone doesn't know about Tio de Nadal, just look him up. Go listen to our old Christmas episode.
We went on a long tirade over the Christmas shit in Mogman.
God.
Oh yeah, we do need to get one of those.
What a good creature.
The best addition to my life in a while. I think we should. I think the world should move. We should. I think drop Mariah Carey down a few pegs, and that log's got to.
If he gets a funny song about pooping at the holidays,
Adam
Mariah's
Sandler, where
done
are
for.
you?
Adam, pick up the guitar.
I know. It's not really your jam, but like, come on, you can do one Christmas. Come on, we need it. Well, Welcome back to another episode, listeners. Thank you for joining us for this holiday season. Today we're bringing you another Merry Christmas episode. It's a Wonderful Knife. This is a new Shudder exclusive horror movie. Horror comedy. It's really not a horror movie.
Holiday horror.
Holiday horror. But before we get into that, so basically the basic conceit of this movie, it's sort of a horror play on the like reality warp family friendly movies. So like Freaky was just Freaky Friday, but with a serial killer.
Yeah,
you have like I don't think it's a play on any one thing in particular. Well, you have a Happy Death Day, right? It's like it's a horror comedy, but with the supernatural element of the time loop, you know. So this is another
That's a Groundhog's Day style.
Groundhog's Day, right?
So it's like Groundhog's Day plus Killer.
Yes. This one is It's a Wonderful Life, but
Plus
with
Killer.
a killer. So
And no George Bailey.
no George Bailey, no Clarence either.
That's
really.
not true.
Well, we'll get around to it. But the concept of this movie got me thinking, like, what other ones are we due for, right?
Oh, okay.
Because I know, what's the one with Sabrina that just came out on Amazon?
Killer?
Yeah, that was Totally Killer.
Totally Killer.
That one is like a time travel one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that one's like, what, Back to the Future, essentially, or something. We're traveling back in time. But also, Final Girls was kind of like that, too.
True.
But, what other family-friendly, like, comedies, or they can be normal ones or the kind of reality-bendy ones. Are there any that I can only think of one, and it's, like, pretty obscure, I think, because it's something that's not really referenced all that much. But there's a... I don't know what year it came out, but there's an old Steve Martin comedy called All of Me, where he plays a lawyer whose body gets half possessed by a dying, like, millionaire woman. She, like, is on her deathbed and she, like, dies, but before her spirit passes on, it kind of gets shunted into Steve Martin. So Steve Martin controls the left half of his body, and this woman's spirit controls the right half, and he's just kind of like, whoa, whoa, like flipping and flopping throughout the
like Octodad?
Yeah. It's like watching him quap,
Oh, that's awful.
So that one's already kind of like a horror show if you just frame it in a different light. So I was thinking, if you throw in like a killer somewhere and then have like these two people who are like quapping through the whole movie trying to not get killed by this guy, I think that one is kind of free reign to do whatever you want, and I think it could be good.
It could be.
It's
I
a
think,
pretty
I think
obscure
there's
movie,
something
too.
there. You throw it in the stone roller and wait till it comes out shiny and flat.
Well, I was also thinking, so that's what actually got me on that Rankin Bass train too, because I was like, well, what other Christmas classics could we do
Yeah.
the horror twist to? Because right, we did The Grinch. Now we got It's a Wonderful Life. So for me, aside from Jingle All the Way,
I think it's got to be the Santa Claus, the Tim Allen one, where like the guy
he's like mutating.
he accidentally knocks a guy off a roof. It's Santa, and then the guy who becomes Santa is a serial killer, and then all year long he's transforming into Santa
so
Claus.
a bad Santa
Yeah.
movie. Okay,
Yeah,
so evil
yeah.
Santa. That's what I was thinking. I think that's a pretty common. An initial thought is like, oh, evil Santa, right?
Evil Santa, yeah.
Easy. But we've seen it plenty of times. So then I thought, like, what about like? Because we got the David Harbour.
Yes,
What was that movie called?
Violent Night.
Violent Night, right? So then I was like, oh, like good Santa that kicks ass. And in Violent Night, I mean, this could even be Violent Night 2 or whatever. You could have like, because in Violent Night he's like a Viking. You find out like he was like a crazy like Viking warlord that got like cursed to like be merry and not be a warlord. And so he's just like, because at the end of the movie, like takes off spoilers. He like takes off his like set, and he's got all these like Nordic runes and stuff tattooed on him, and he just fucking goes to town.
I have to rewatch this movie.
It's really funny. So I was like, oh, and now that I'm thinking about it, in the moment, we're doing it live. you could do the prequel to Violent Night and just do like I want to see mix the Rankin Bass Santa Claus is Coming to Town, you know, with the Burgermeister.
Mm-hmm.
That mixed with the Northmen. You know, just give me Santa on this grisly quest, you know, to the fucking pole. Like he's punching polar bears. The Burgermeister gets fucked up, you know.
I would like to see Santa deal with a cryptid from another country.
Like another Santa? You want like Santa v. Belschnickel?
No,
or just any
I want like Santa v. The Grudge girl.
Ju-on. You want Santa?
I want Santa v.
Santa.
Ju-on. Like Santa comes down the fucking chimney and she just comes down the stairs like.
That's how you do it. It's like the Ju-on versus Sadako movie. Because Santa's an immortal being who could go anywhere he wants. You put on the ring tape the second he comes down the chimney, and then he watches it accidentally, and he's got Sadako like climbing out of every TV that in the house that he goes to. And like then, he comes in the chimney, he's like, "Quick, gotta put the presents under the tree," and Sadako's like crawling out of the TV, and he's like, "Back up the chimney."
That's like Santa. It follows.
So maybe the way we do it is we don't go what Christmas movie can become horror. We Christmasify
a horror movie. Yeah.
Maybe you reverse engineer it that way, and then you can cook with basically anything. The pantry is like wide open now. If you just take horror movie, put Santa in it. Now we're talking. But yeah, so that's what got me on the whole Rankin Bass thing. I was like, there has to be something we could do here. And for me, the Santa Claus is Coming to Town, the Burgermeister one, that's my, like, besides Jingle All the Way, that one is like my quintessential. I watch that movie a million times every Christmas season. The whole, when he's hanging with that Ice King motherfucker and they're doing
the Winter Warlock
in front of the, that was my jam. I love that fucking movie. But so yeah, if you do that, do a Northman cross with that one, a big like Beowulfian Santa epic, you know, I could get down on that.
What I like about the Winter Warlock is that he transforms into like a normal
dude,
wintry wizard guy, and then all of a sudden he's like less powerful. He's like, I shaved my ice beard. I don't know. I'm not as strong. I'm sorry.
He learns how to walk properly through the woods, and suddenly he's like not a god anymore. That was my like train of thought going into this. I was like, first, before we get into this movie, I got to figure out, you know. So I think next week, now that you've led me to the put Santa in blank, you know, that I think I'm gonna have some stuff for next week.
Good. we'll mull that over a little bit, and we'll come back with a solid pitch.
But yeah, so let's get into the movie. So this is an Amazon original, I believe, or was it just? Shudder,
not Amazon.
I was thinking of it still that other time travel one.
Shudder original.
Sorry, yeah, Shudder original. It was directed by Tyler McIntyre, written by Michael Kennedy, who is the writer of Freaky. So he's got kind of a thing.
That explains some things.
He's got kind of a thing, and he's actually got another movie, a Back to the Future movie coming out.
Oh.
Where a girl goes back in time to stop somebody in her family from dying.
Interesting.
Yeah, so he's got a motif through his work so far, but he better watch out because I'm coming hot for the holidays.
Yeah,
in a couple of years, you're gonna see all my Santa.
Watch the Throne, King.
So it's Tyler McIntyre's director. Michael Kennedy is the writer. It is starring Jane Widdop, Joel McHale, Justin Long, and Catherine Isabelle, among others. But those are like the top brass cast.
Justin Long's veneers.
Yeah, Justin Long. You know, and all of them all our main people have some horror credit to them to a degree. I mean, Catherine Isabelle, she's Aunt Ginger Snaps, right? That was like the first thing I was like, that's the werewolf girl. That's another series I've got to give I gotta put some brain space aside in 2024 for some Ginger Snaps. I
gotta see the third one, which is a back in time.
Oh, great! We love that. Fits right in with this writer's work. What if a werewolf went back to the 80s?
No. What if we had werewolves, but it's like olden times. It's like log cabin.
Yeah, they go even farther.
Yeah, it's way back.
Justin Long, obviously. I mean, he's like
He's all over the place now.
Well, he's been in horror, for as far back. We can go way far back. But recently, I mean, he was in our Barbarian episode. He was in something else recently that I can't put my finger on. But I mean, from Tusk, from Jeepers Creepers. Everyone knows Justin Long. He's great. Joel McHale, I don't think has any. He's just from Community, I think.
He's on all sorts of shit. Are you kidding me?
But I don't know if he's in any other big horror movies that I can think of.
I can't think of any
none that I could see.
Big horror movies for him.
And this is still we're still early in the career for our main character, Jane Widdop. She is from. So you haven't seen Yellow Jackets, so I won't spoil it for you. But for anybody who has seen it's listening, Jane Widdop plays the airplane girl. In Yellow Jackets, she's the blonde. But she was really good in Yellow Jackets. I think she was okay in this.
Yeah.
But I think there's a reason for that. Anyway, I don't think there's any details box office wise because again, this was released. I don't know. Apparently, because it did open briefly, right? It had like a small release. So
it came out like the same week Thanksgiving came out, and they had like a really good like kind of symbiotic relationship in the theaters because we were like, oh fuck, we get 2 new holiday slashers before Christmas. Let's go!
Wild. Well, it's apparently made worldwide so far. It's made $826,000. I mean, that's I don't know what the budget was.
That's not bad.
But it's a quick
I'll tell you what,
movie.
it's no Thanksgiving.
No, it is not as good as Thanksgiving. Say that right now. It's a quick movie, 87 minutes, so you're not really burning a lot of time. I guess we can get right into it. How did you feel about this holiday adventure?
So I think I wish I had seen it before Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Because I feel like Thanksgiving was so good and so like on the nose for like what I'm looking for that I feel like it misses the mark by comparison, which is tough.
Also talking different holidays too.
Totally different holidays, and I just think there's a lot of stuff that I did see in Thanksgiving that I wanted to see in It's a Wonderful Life. We're losing out on a lot of practical effects in Wonderful Life. There's a lot of really bad like digital blood and like digital gore. And I think our two main like teenager like characters or like post like early college, they're 2 main chicks that are in the movie. I think are not as fun to watch as those other characters.
Yeah, that's
from Thanksgiving.
For sure.
But it was okay. It was I think it was just okay enough. It wasn't. I wouldn't say it was mid. I'd say it was a little bit better off than mid. I'd say it's maybe like a 6 or 7. But it left me wanting more of something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you hit it all pretty well there. I think for me, I would actually rate it lower. I think it crosses over into bad territory, but because it's a holiday movie, I think that shouldn't stop you from putting this on. Like if you're like decorating your Christmas trees or like you're just like, hey, let's watch a bunch of Christmas movies. You could put this one on, and I think you'd be perfectly happy with it.
Yeah.
I think my problem with the movie is it feels all of it, like all aspects, feel very. I don't know if it's like half baked or it feels like you've got one of those. It's like one of those like cheesecakes that have like 18 different flavors. Like one slice of each,
Yeah.
Where like you never quite feel like you're getting what's being sold. Like you get sold like a little bit of something, and you're like, I could use a little more of that, and then you're like, no, you ate the one slice.
Yeah,
there's no more. Of that. You got to go to chocolate raspberry now.
How an educated person would say it's not cohesive.
Yeah. Well, I decided to go the cheesecake route.
I like the cheesecake route.
I used the cheesecake defense, Your Honor. I used the Kirkland variety cheesecake defense.
But no, I think you're exactly right. I think it's pushing in all directions at once, and I don't think it ever lands
It felt
where
like
it wants to.
It felt like the writing needed to cook a while more. But it's just, it's never quite scary enough. It's never quite funny enough. It's never quite wholesome enough.
Yeah.
You miss out on like it's trying to do too many things at once. I think it could have been a lot. The story could have been tighter. Well, definitely be tighter. This movie is like, there's seams popping out everywhere. There's a lot of stuff going on. Weird choices.
I'll tell you what though, after being that it is kind of like in concept and plot device based on It's a Wonderful Life, I've seen It's a Wonderful Life more times than I can count, because it was like a holiday tradition for my dad to like come home on Christmas Eve while we're all decorating the tree together, and he puts on A Wonderful Life and falls asleep on the couch.
Sure.
So I've seen this movie a billion fucking times. It is like, you thought sitting through Skinamarink was tough for you? It's a Wonderful Life is the most torturously long, fucking depressing movie. It's like 2 hours of just like shitty life, shitty life, shitty life. Oh, you're gone. Everyone else's life is shitty. Oh, you're back. And it just drags out forever. So I was surprised to see how snappy pacing wise this was.
Yeah.
But I don't think it fixes the movie.
No, it just because it made it faster, just because it was a shorter movie than It's a Wonderful Life, I don't think wins it anything, really. No. Because, like, at least It's a Wonderful Life, the story gels, and it makes sense, and it, like, it's only trying to say one thing,
Yeah.
I think this movie, like, is trying to say, like, lots of stuff, and a lot of times you're like, what are you saying? Like, and none of it really ever makes any sense. And it just doesn't feel like there's no growth. Nothing happens in the movie. Like, the main character's like, my life is shitty. I wish it's not even that. I'll get into it later, but basically she, I don't think she really goes anywhere in the story. And there's a lot of just weird nonsense that just gets written off as like Christmas magic.
It's Christmas, yeah.
But even then, it's not. They're not even using Christmas magic, right? They're not like they could have. There's a way to tell your audience, like, hey, it's Christmas magic. And we'll all be like, we've seen enough that we're all like, okay, we get it. This movie doesn't even do that. It tries to make up its own weird thing that it's like, where are you getting this from?
I dialed into the specific like wish-based lore that they're using to explain away the nonsense in this movie, and we'll get to it a little later on. But man, it's rough.
Yeah. Again, I think it's a pretty bad movie, but that's not saying I didn't like have a good time watching it.
Yeah,
it was fun while it lasted. Again, if you're just trying to pile on, you're looking for movies to add to your 60 movie long Christmas marathon list, where you're gonna have like, you're gonna be like Disney, what is it, Freeform, where they just roll Christmas 24/7. If you're trying to like compete with them, you can throw this guy on there.
Yeah.
It's just like it's just turn off your brain, watch it. It's stupid and silly. I will say though, it gets bonus points for cool slasher design.
True.
I think they actually did a impeccably and shockingly good job designing and implementing this slasher. And while there are very few kills, I think a lot of them, while there is CGI blood, and we all know I hate that. We all, as a pod, we hate it.
All my homies hate CGI blood.
While there is like a decent amount of that, the kill scenes are still pretty awesome. Like there's a kill that like is set to like the backdrop of the Carol of the Bells with like strobe lights going crazy, and I'm like, whoa. This does not belong in this movie from what I've seen so far, because this scene fucking slaps. It was so cool that the rest of the movie, I was like, can we go back to that, please?
Yeah.
This would be really cool if we just got more of these.
I felt like there was like 3 different directors, right? It felt like there was one horror movie
because we get the found
director.
footage kill later.
True. we get one horror director in there. We get one soap opera director, and then we get one Hallmark movie director.
Yeah. It's really
and it's
weird.
very evident across because they try to go from like pretty like kooky like.
But they don't get to
slasher
stay in their
comedy
lane. That's
humor.
the thing.
No.
If it was just a horror director gets to do the horror stuff, and then no, it's like they're like, all right, we got to do this scene. Horror guy's not here today. Hallmark, you're up. What you got?
Yeah. It's weird, but I think we should get into it. We should.
It's not gonna. Just put it on your horror movie list. It'll be fun. You'll have a good time. It's just not very great.
But that being said, if you want to check it out without any spoilers, already
leave now. Be
leave
gone.
now. Go away.
And then come back.
Be merry. Make some hot cocoa.
You have to listen to to the whole episode because we need it for rating. Yeah, so our main characters, just to like get it off the bat again. So we have main character Winnie Carruthers, played by Jane Widdop. We have her father, David Carruthers, played by Joel McHale. And then there are Aunt Catherine, played by Ginger Snaps, Catherine Isabel. Her name is Gail Prescott. I didn't realize that during the movie, but I mean, if that's not like a very clear screen reference, you're lying to yourself.
Yeah.
And then we have Justin Long plays Henry Waters, the villain, the shitty town villain of the movie. We have Jess McLeod, who plays Bernie, the weird girl, and I forget what her brother's name, Jimmy.
Yes.
Yeah, Aiden Howard plays Jimmy, Winnie's brother. And that's pretty much all the relevant characters. So yeah, the movie opens up where it's basically an infomercial for like the Henry Waters, Justin Long's character. Henry Waters is like this big business owner in town. He's trying to like buy up all the properties. He wants to create like Ice Town. Like
he does want to make Ice Town.
He wants to make Ice Town. He's one of those guys. He just wants to buy up all the properties and own this entire town.
Yeah, he just wants to turn it into Monopoly the game, where he owns all the buildings.
He wants to be does the Monopoly guy own? Is he like bad?
I think.
Yes. Is he on our side or whose side is he on?
He is bad, but we're also supposed to be
bad.
Yeah.
Okay, so is he bad? But yeah, so Henry Waters,
big real estate developer.
Guy. Oh, and he's also, Justin Long is doing like a crazy performance. It's sort of like, it was shocking, sort of like when Nicolas Cage in The Color Out of Space decided to just do Trump for the whole movie.
Oh yeah.
Remember that decision he made? This feels similar. It just feels like Justin Long was like, I'm going to do, what was it?
Warren Jeffs?
Yeah, Warren. I'm going to do Warren Jeffs this time. That's what it felt like. Watching him in this movie felt like that's what a conversation with this guy was like.
Yeah, he has these like insane prosthetic teeth in to make it look like he has really bad veneers.
Yeah.
And like his upper lip is giving the performance of a lifetime, struggling to keep those bad boys hidden under there. Man, oh man,
it's wild. I think the movie might even just be worth checking out just for that performance, even if you only watch like the first 2 minutes.
He is very funny. He's like a very swiftly spoken, kind of breathy guy who is used to getting what he wants, and he's like the hotshot developer.
But yeah, so that's Henry Waters. That's Justin Long in the movie. He's got like a trophy wife too that has like one line, I think, later in the movie.
Cell.
Well, yeah. But so the movie opens up and they just run into each other, right? Because we get our family introduced. We get Winnie and David and Jimmy and whatever the mom's name is. She's also not really a character until later in the movie where she gets like a couple funny moments. And they're all like out on the town. It's Christmas Eve.
Yes.
And they are all like Christmas people, except Winnie's like kind of aloof, but kind of not. She's like, I feel like one of the problems with the movie is like the main character feels really unevenly written. You're not really sure, is she like a shy, awkward type? No, because there's not going to be another one that shows up that takes that role.
Yeah.
She's not. Then sometimes she's like sassy. Then some, like there's this like scene where she's about to like she hangs out with her friend. She's like, oh, I can't say fuck. Like she's like. I thought we were going that route with this movie first. I was like, oh, is it like only naughty kids get killed and he won't kill her because she won't say fuck, you know? I thought maybe that at first was where we were going to like end up somehow.
Naughty nice list situation.
Yeah, which was, it's another good, you could do that in a Evil
Stick it
Santa
in your
movie.
pocket.
But yeah, so she just feels like they didn't really, the writers couldn't, he couldn't settle on like what kind of character his main character was going to be.
That's a reasonable observation.
Which is why I feel like she doesn't really change because like she's barely developed at all to begin with. So at the end of the movie, you're like, wait, where did we go?
All that we know is that she is trying to get into college for photography. She's trying to go to New York.
Yeah, she's trying to get out of town.
She wants to get away from small
where,
town.
Yeah, where? So the name of the city that they live in is
Angel Falls.
Angel Falls.
Which, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't that where the Power Rangers live?
That's Angel
Cove.
Grove? I don't know.
Angel Grove.
Close.
Sounds right.
Yeah. So no, not where the Power Rangers live, but almost. we get much worse civilians in this movie.
Yeah, it's just like it's a very like kind of out of the way, homey little town.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a lot of crazy big, modernizations. And this guy Henry is developing all of this place into like a little resort town.
Yeah,
which I think the idea is that they don't get enough traffic to like make it a resort town. So like
it's not going to bring. That's not how it works, dude.
Yeah.
Otherwise, small towns would be turning into these things all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, we find that out because the family gets broken up by Henry Waters. They meet him on the street. Him, his wife, and his brother, and then the main characters are like, "No, Dad, you can't," because he wants the dad David to like come with him to help convince this old guy who's like he's got the last house that needs to be demolished, and he like won't sell it, right? So like David gets taken away like to go work, and his kids are like, this always happens on Christmas Eve. Dad's never here with us. I'm like, all right, so we're really into Christmas, like, but then we drop that like whole plot thread immediately, like, oh, Dad's never home for Christmas. It's not relevant at all. And so Winnie gets home, then immediately goes out again with her like best friend, who is the granddaughter of the old guy that won't sell his house to Henry Waters. She shows up. Her and Winnie go to this party that's out in like, it's in like some sort of like, is it the school or is it a lodge or something? It's a weird location that they're in. It's just like a cabin.
I think
somewhere.
it's her boyfriend's house.
Is it?
Yeah, because that's the house they go back to later on.
Oh, I didn't know that was the same.
Yeah,
place.
I'm pretty sure it's the same place.
Huh. Well, anyway, they go somewhere, and the people are like, all the light. There's all these crazy lights and stuff, and it's like powered by like a bunch of like car batteries. Somebody like jury rigged together for some reason. There's just like open exposed electrical stuff, like, and that's relevant in like 2 seconds because
big OSHA violations.
Because so Winnie and her friend go inside. They meet up with some of our other characters that are largely irrelevant to the movie. Winnie's got a boyfriend whose name I can't remember.
Winnie's boyfriend is pretty much about as in depth as we get with him.
So Winnie's boyfriend's there. Her friend is there. Her friend's boyfriend, and then there's like sassy bitchy girl that needs to be in every friend group, right? Everyone had the one. Mm-hmm. And they talk for a little bit. A bunch of them are making fun of this girl that the whole town calls weirdo. Like, not just like they go, "You're a weirdo." Like literally everybody in town, even the aunt, calls her just weirdo. Like that's her given name.
I've never seen a town more like dedicated to raising a school shooter.
I was gonna say just mean. I was like, the last time I saw a town this mean to somebody, it was a Halloween movie. Poor Corey. But yeah, so we meet her, and her name, the weird girl, her actual name is Bernie, which I don't know which I'd prefer, honestly. But so we like, there's a little like silent wave moment where like the two, where Bernie and Winnie like see each other from across the way, and they're like, Winnie like waves to her. And then her friend's like, ew, this is where we learn all that. Ew, why are you waving? Don't talk to her. She's gross. She's a weirdo.
This is what confused me because, like, they treat in this beginning part, they treat her as if she doesn't know that this girl is like the town punching bag.
Yeah, like, is she new to town? No, not even like
She's
it's
not
like,
new to town.
Yeah.
But they treat her like she's like new to town, but then later on the whole thing is like, oh, I wish to be dead and now nobody knows who I am. I'm like, bitch, nobody knew who you were to start.
Yeah, if you're so like out of the loop in your own, like, that you don't know, literally everybody in the town refers to this one girl as weirdo. What are we doing anyway? But so the group splits up, and this is when we get our first, like, the killer's design is he's a ghost face, right? Just without the mask.
He is a Christmas ghost face. Yeah, he's got like a flat mask where you can kind of see like
it's like a mannequin head mask.
Yeah,
where there's the vague.
It's featureless.
Yeah.
But then he has this cool like kind of billowing-y like
all white
cloak with hood,
because he's what they call in the movie. He's the angel. He's the Christmas angel that goes on top of the tree, which I think is a really cool idea for a killer. And they did a cool job, like, with the costume design, so it all worked out. He doesn't have wings, but I think that would have been a little much.
Well, he's got wings on his special knife. He has a special knife where the hilt is like 2 wings, so I'll give it to him.
It's like the knife from Malignant.
Yes.
It's like it's not like that. It's not as cool as that, but it's
definitely
like
not as cool, but it is similar.
I think he's really, really cool looking design. It actually is. This is I did read this. The director has to be really into Scream, because not only did he name the aunt Gail Prescott, but apparently the design for this was inspired by the original Ghostface costume, because the original Ghostface costume was white too.
Oh,
they were like in all of the like original concept art and like concept photography stuff. Ghostface was in like a long white cloak, but then I forget when the decision was made or why exactly, but they were like, well, I think it pops more into scary if he's black with the white mask. So,
makes sense. But I'll tell you what, the all white, it does look pretty fucking cool on
especially
camera.
when it gets covered in blood. It really stands. It's like stands out. It's pretty awesome. I wish it was attached to a better movie, but it helps make this movie like enjoyable to a degree, because he's really cool.
We see right before this party scene, we see the old man who is like refusing to give up his like property. He gets his neck slit by the angel in a very bad digital neck slit.
Yeah, well, the doorbell rings. The old guy goes to the door, opens it. There's a snowman on his doorstep, and then there's like a crazy CGI like snow explosion as the the angel like dives out and lands on him and then slits his throat with. It's still it's a funny kill though. The utilization of the snowman, helps. So all the kills are like fun or creative or both, I think. Except maybe the movie theater one later. It's like whatever.
I think that was
There's
fun.
interesting camera work going
on.
But yeah, so everyone starts getting killed, and this is where I forgot the first time I watched this, because I watched it twice just to like make sure I got it all. I wasn't sure. I like forgot what the plot of the movie was going to be, and so I was like, wow, all this stuff is like happening so fast. Why isn't why are they like? I was like, slow your roll, movie. We got 80 more minutes to go. What are we doing? And then I was like, oh no, because we're gonna go undo it all, and then it's gonna happen. I was like, fuck.
The killer shows up at this party, and he's like trying to slice and dice a couple kids up, and then he ends up going toe to toe with our main character. Who
there's a cool candy cane death thrown in there.
There is
where a guy gets a candy cane shoved through the back of his head out through his mouth. That one was cool.
That one's pretty
CGI, cool. But it was a fun idea.
It looks way better than the neck thing.
Yeah,
but so he ends up getting 2 like jumper cables attached to him, and it'll electrocute him.
Yeah, Winnie kills him just as he's about to kill her brother.
Yeah,
who like everybody just loves better than her. Right? That's like basically what we learn in this movie.
That's pretty much his whole character, is that like everybody likes his brother better because he like works with the dad and like he's around town and stuff.
Yeah. And so that happens, but her friend does get killed.
Her best friend gets killed.
And she sees it happen. Like, the girl, like, runs up and is like, let me in, through, like, this window, and, like, you just see her get, like, stabbed the fuck up. So that night happens. We cut to a year later, right?
Yeah. She just survives this killing, and then we go, boop, a whole year passes.
Sorry, because if you haven't already figured it out, because we get the unmasking, right? She car batteries the angel, she unmasks him. Oh, it's Justin Long, what a shock. It's like a Scooby-Doo mystery, right? That's how basic the like a dog and, like, 4 high teenagers could figure out who this killer is.
I mean, it is Overland Development, so it is very Scooby-Doo. It's very, very on that brand.
So yeah, it's like, oh, what a shock! It was Henry Waters. Oh no! But then we cut to a year later, and now Winnie's family owns, like, the whole town, right? Because, and there's, like, some weird moments of, like, lore in this movie that just get glazed over or glossed over, and we're like, oh, that wasn't important. It's
the idea is that the Henry Waters and her father were business partners under this other guy.
Yeah, his
in
dad.
This real estate.
And then his dad died.
His dad dies and leaves it to his son instead of the guy who was actually doing the real business,
which is Joel McHale's character, the dad, Dave.
Yeah,
but there's like a scene when they're first talking to that old guy, and he's like, David was more of a son to your father than you were, and Justin Long is like, you don't know my father, and I'm like, now that I watched it a second time, I was like, where was any of this the rest of the movie? Like, we just put all this, like, depth, like, there's history. What are we gonna learn more about that? When you just don't. They're like, nah, forget it. We that was enough writing for them.
Yeah.
But so now, like, Winnie's family owns the whole town, right?
Yes.
And we're like it's a year later, so we're getting ready for Christmas again. Winnie has been traumatized. She found out at some point that she didn't get into photography school, and she's also traumatized and depressed because she saw her best friend get stabbed to death in front of her, and then she also killed a man. So there's a lot of stuff Winnie's got going on in her head. But everybody is just like, why is Winnie so quiet these days?
Meanwhile, Winnie looks like someone came and sucked the color out of her life. She's like a gray husk of a human in this, like,
she's got these like insanely, like, red bloodshot, like, under eyelids. You're like, oh man, they did the, like, Bella Swan on you, bro. Like, I'm surprised we didn't get the ha 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 where the fucking with the camera just rotates around her.
That fucking song.
You know, I can't even sing or carry a tune, and you still know what it is because everyone fucking knows that song. But yeah, so Winnie's not doing good, and nobody is sensitive to this at all. Everyone's like, her brother's kind of like, not being mean to her, but she's like clearly needs like help, and he's like, whatever, gotta go work with dad, sorry. And so everyone's just ignoring her. They do like a gift exchange when they all get home, and
it's like the Christmas Eve tradition. They all open up one gift, and like their aunts are there. There's the cool aunt who gets brought into the movie.
Well, they're married.
Yeah.
So Ginger Snaps in this movie is married to her name is Karen, the character's name, but she's played by Cassandra Naud. She was from that like I was telling you, she was from the sequel, the spiritual sequel to Superhost. It was that Shudder original with the girl who like takes over the other girl's Instagram after she disappears.
Influencer one,
yeah. That's what it's called, influencer.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's cool to see her pop up, you know. And yeah, so they're exchanging gifts, and the parents have gotten like the craziest outfit for their daughter that I've ever, like, the way I described it is because we see her in it later in the movie. She looks like she's like Regina George's mom, you know, in that pink like felty like tracksuit or what workout clothes.
It's like a 2004 all hot pink Juicy Couture.
Yeah, it's like the Baby Spice edition.
Yeah, it looks like. First of all, no one would ever wear that. Period. End of sentence. But it's just like the most obnoxious tracksuit, and she's like, "Really, guys? Like, why would you get me like workout clothes?" And he was like, "Oh, I thought it'd look good. You needed them, is what her mom says.
Yeah. I'm like, are we like fat shaming this like lethargic like skeleton of a girl?
This girl who's clearly depressed and like not processing trauma, and they're like, you know what? She needs a tracksuit.
Yeah,
she needs some juicy couture.
And her aunts do make a comment on it, but like
it's contrasted by immediately afterwards they give her brother his gift,
and it's a whole new truck.
It's like the fucking GMC Halo edition. It's like got the lift kit. It's got like
it's the I Have a Favorite Kid edition.
Yeah, it's got like a Gatling gun platform in the back of the truck. It's fucking huge. The truck is like bigger than two men standing. Like,
yes, it's pretty wild. So Winnie has just about had it, and so she storms off to her boyfriend is having some sort of party.
Yes.
Again, I don't know if this is the same house, but if you say it was.
This is at least the same house that they go to in the world later, yeah.
But anyway, so they go to this house, and it's just like this rager. Like, parents aren't home, kids are like partying, but like they make a very like pointed statement of saying like, oh, this is like a rager, but like a nice one.
Yeah.
You know, like it's not like out of control. It's nice. We get like the like drug couple of them. You know how like every movie has like a guy and a girl that are just like the drug people?
Yeah.
They're like the same characters from Talk to Me.
Yeah.
And they when he gets there, and the two drug people are like, they're playing like gummy bear catch in their mouths, and then they're like, they're weed gummies, and I'm like, okay, we get the all right.
It's
but
so
later it's
dumb.
funny because later in the movie they're just full on meth heads. It was just like I'll talk about it again, but it's really funny.
I don't understand how
the lighting in this house is all pink and bright and warm, and then when they get there the next time, it's just like there's no gummy bears and pink lights. It's just like gray meth.
Yeah,
is the theme. But so she gets there. This is where she sees Bernie again.
Bernie tries to kind of like prevent her from finding her boyfriend cheating on her.
Yeah.
So she asks Bernie like, "Hey, where's my boyfriend?" She's like, "Oh,
they're
he's,
outside."
Outside. And then someone's like, "They're not outside. They're over here in the laundry room, and they're making out." And she's like, "Why would you lie to me about that?" Like,
which is just felt like a weird conflict to have. Like you did, like I don't know, for her to be mad at Bernie about it, because the boyfriend's cheating on Winnie with the mean girl friend, and yeah, it just like, and then she gets mad at Bernie for not like Bernie trying to prevent her from finding out, and it's like this is like a weird reaction. This is where like Winnie starts to really be all over the place tonally.
yeah.
She starts. I know she's having like her sad my vampire boyfriend went to Italy phase. But like she, even given that, like she acts so. It's like almost like she's a manic depressant. Like she's all over the map in this movie. It's wild. And God bless the actress. She does the best with what she was given, right? Like they're like, they were probably like, do it this way, and she was like, okay. And I think she is trying her hardest to do it. I don't think it's anything about her. I think it's writing. But yeah, so then Winnie's like, boom, no one likes me, you know, and she goes out to the docks, which is like apparently a close walk. She like goes down to the seaport, and there's like this crazy aurora borealis, which apparently is really rare in their town, even though it looks like they're on like the border of Antarctica.
Yeah, it shouldn't appear there. They're not far north enough.
Yeah,
or
wherever. I don't know
them.
I don't know my aurora lore.
You gotta be north.
I don't know the aurora borealis. But she goes there and just it's like nobody even knows I exist. I might as well not. I wish, you know, I forget what her exact
I wish
wording.
I was never born.
Yeah, but then she gets, you know, the aurora borealis goes like pew, and like, you know, she gets like sucked in and transported to a world where she never was born. But what's like funny about it is like the whole movie, you know, like the It's a Wonderful Life is about like this guy who has had a relatively unfortunate life. Mm-hmm. Who's just like but he's a good person because part of his like the struggles is that he stops things that would help him because he has to help other people. Like, you could have had a bunch of money, but like no, he gives it to a bunch, spreads it out so that everybody can have something. He's doing good deeds, and that's the whole point. Is like, oh, we have to go back so I can. The angel, there's no angel in this movie, which is I think a problem.
Yeah.
They try to cover for it later, but it's like
it's a stretch.
So there's no angel, but like her whole thing is that like she goes back, she finds out what the world. She doesn't need to learn anything about herself because the world is objectively worse. Not because like it's because she murdered somebody. So it's like, all right, you don't feel bad for killing that guy because a bunch of more people are gonna die. But that doesn't get her any character growth. It just makes her less sad. Basically, the only thing that happens is like she saves her brother from dying, and then he dies, and then it's just all we learn is that everybody really does like him better.
Yeah, so
because
like,
the world won't.
In the new world where she wasn't born, everything happens pretty much exactly the same, which made me confused because I was like, how, if she wasn't born, the genetic lottery of her brother coming out exactly the same as he was in the other world doesn't make any sense to me. But that aside,
Whatever.
it dumps her into a world where it's still a year from the murders, and the mayor is still alive.
Yes.
And the angel is still on the loose. She learns that people have been getting killed like every few weeks. Right. So in the course of a year, he's racked up like 27 to 30 murders.
Yeah, a lot. I'd watch that. Just show me that part.
Yeah.
Give me like the middle.
Give me a montage of him just like killing like 30 people.
Yeah, can we just get like a 30-minute like bonus feature added to the movie where we just get to watch Angel kill a bunch of people?
But nobody knows who she is. She does it's
all
a
your
Wonderful
standard
Life.
stuff.
She does the rounds. She goes to like her friends. Her
Do you
friends
know me?
don't
No.
know her.
Do you know me? No.
Yeah, her family doesn't know her, and her family now lives in like a bleak, gray, abysmal world too. Like
because the Justin Long's character Henry Waters, he's like got a thing about white and blue. So the whole town, which used to be all very full color Christmas, was like warm and happy to look at. Now everything just looks like Walmart.
Yeah, everything looks like a soulless like imitation.
In that year, Henry Waters is able to buy up the whole town and construct like an insane like Trump Tower where like a bunch of people's houses used to be. And I'm like, all this in a year?
Yeah, I mean,
I guess when you got money, you can get that. I mean, I don't think that's true though, because I'm sure there's plenty of people who are really rich people who are still waiting on their fucking apartment building to be finished.
A year is
crazy.
an insane turnaround for that building.
The McMansion, dude, that thing, stiff breeze will blow that bad boy over.
But we find out that her mom is now an alcoholic because her brother died because she wasn't there to save him. So the mom's an alcoholic who's got like side pieces coming over just like during the day to get fucked up.
While her husband is also still there, and the aunt also Ginger Snaps just lives with them.
She just lives with them there.
She's just party to it all. She's like, I'm not going to try to help Dave, and my sister's a mess, but I'm just going to observe her being a mess. She's also sad because Karen was killed by the angel. We find out. So
her wife was murdered.
So she's like, all I've got in life now is wine and watching my sister be worse than I am. But another weird thing, so most of this movie, like the stuff with the mom, very goofy, right? All the characters are kind of like everything's turned, the dial is turned to comedy for most of the dialogue in this movie, which is fine. Except then, for some reason, nobody told Joel McHale that, and he is like his acting of a grieving father is way too intense for any part of this movie. Like it's like he did not get the notes on tone. Which is understandable because...
But the way it's filmed is like that. That's what I was saying with the
every time you see it, it's like an HBO drama.
Yeah, it's like super intense. And even like next to the more dramatic parts of the movie, it just feels so disjointed. It's like, whoa, we're really trying to pull at some heartstrings here, but like 20 minutes ago, you were giving me a fart joke.
Yeah.
5 minutes ago, I was getting a fart joke.
Yeah, like, we go from like drug humor and fart jokes and like quirky teen girl
dramas,
antics, to like this, like it's like watching The Wire, like this gray, like slow zoom into Joel McHale, like in borderline tears, talking about how he misses Christmas with his son.
And don't get us wrong.
And then a second later, it's like whop whop slap slap bow. You know,
Yeah.
the movie goes nuts again.
Yeah, and don't get us wrong. We understand that the entire point of this other world she goes to, it's supposed to be depressing. It's supposed to be
but
overbearingly worse without her.
Every part of the movie, except for Joel McHale, every part of the world is the same tone. It's like a cartoonish dreariness.
Yeah.
But Joel McHale, he's like full on, like he's going for the Oscar on this one. It's like, all right, calm down. The rest of the movie is not gonna handle this.
No.
But yeah, so she does, like you said, she does the rounds, the Do You Know Me rounds, until eventually she runs into Bernie again, and Bernie is our for the friend who believes the person,
Yes.
character. She's like, oh well, I'm weird and quirky, so that means I can come to terms with this almost instantly. So now we'll be, pals.
Bernie is written really weird because she is the town punching bag. And then, this girl comes along who nobody knows. She's never met her. And she's just like, look, I know everything about this town, and I know everything about you. And so, we should be friends now, and we should just, figure out this mystery. And she's just like, I'm so incredibly desperate for human interaction. That's not abuse that I in.
Well, that would be interesting if that's all, but also the character goes through, maybe, she waffles back and forth tonally and characteristically, so because we get a scene later where she's like, oh no, I actually think Winnie is the killer, and I'm like, aren't we past this?
I will push back only a little bit because that scene is so funny. She's in Bernie's room.
It is,
and this is where we find
the
out
physical
that
comedy is good.
Bernie is a lot more like her than she thinks. Bernie is an aspiring clothing designer, and she's also trying to get into fashion school in New York.
Fashion school.
So she's got all these things on, and she's like, oh yeah, well, I designed this, and I designed that, and I designed this, and the mannequins look hideous. Those even as a high art fashion design, they look awful. But all the things she's wearing looks fine. So I was like, all right, maybe she's just these are some throwaways. But she's in her room and she's like, well, if you're someone that nobody knows, but you know all about the town and you know all about these murders, so I think you're the murderer.
And
she pulls a knife.
Yeah, she does. She slowly grabs her. No, it's scissors. And then, but it's the timing is very funny because the second it starts to get really tense and you're like, oh, she doesn't trust her anymore. She's like, how do I know you're not the killer? And then instantly, the
Kool-Aid man,
a plastic Santa comes busting through the window, and it's not a big window. It's kind of a weird high up on the wall window, which would be the worst window to have to crawl through because the Santa comes busting through, and then the angel has to Spider-Man through the window because it's so weird and skinny and high up. It's we didn't have a better room for this particular thing, guys. They're like, no, the house is very small.
But it's pretty well timed. It's very funny.
No, it's good. You get a little cat and mouse. You get more of the angel being very Ghostfacey because he's doing a lot of pratfalls in this movie.
Yes.
He's getting the full Ghostface treatment. Things are getting thrown at him. He's tripping over debris. He's pushed downstairs. And then so what happens? So after that. Now Winnie's fully on board. Is this when they go to the movie theater? Yeah, because they can't go back to Winnie's house or to either Winnie's house or Bernie's.
They're both like, fuck, we got to get out of here.
Yeah, that's where we find out Bernie works at the local movie theater, and she basically just lives in the projection booth.
Yeah.
This is where all my family lives. She's basically like that. She's like, I come here to get away and go to different worlds. I'm such a deep character that you've definitely never seen before.
It's just so funny to me. It's how would this person how would you not know this person in your other life?
Also, the weird girl who lives in the movie theater and runs a projection booth would be the coolest kid in town. I don't care what town you're in. Everyone would fucking be down with her.
So they sleep in the movie theater, which I would never in a million years I could not.
If you
get
knew a guy,
enough.
well, yeah, and also there's a murderer after you. She's like, he can't get in here, and I'm like, well, I'm pretty sure you're gonna prove that wrong later in the movie when he gets in. But yeah, they and there's also they learn more about each other. There's a little flirty moment where you're they hold hands, and I was like, is this oh, are we getting? And I'm like smiling. I'm like, are we getting lesbians? But then you're also, no, it's just a friendship thing. But then later in the movie, they're like, Matt, you got lesbians.
You got your wish. It's a wholesome lesbian relationship.
But I just feel that whole thing is weird too, which we can get to.
So we'll get there. I think that's the least weird part about this, because we get to the part where they're trying to explain how this Christmas magic works. And
that's the next day. They wake up and go to the library.
Turns out it's not Christmas magic.
No.
It's some sort of town lore where if someone is murdered, if a vengeful person is murdered on the night of the Aurora Borealis, that their vengeful spirit can, like, somehow manipulate reality and grant her this wish.
It's such a, like, weird decision. You could have very easily, we were talking about this, you could just say Christmas magic.
You could literally have, like, the most stereotypical scene of just one girl being like, but how does it work? And someone goes, well, it's Christmas magic. And then they go, oh, okay, yeah.
No, yeah, you do that. And you don't need this, like, you just say, oh, I found a thing that says, some nights on the Aurora Borealis is known to do weird things in this town. Mm-hmm. Like, literally, you don't have to, because the whole, like, if it is a very specific rule. It's like, if you die, if somebody with a vengeful spirit dies brutally on the night of the very rare Aurora Borealis, then and only then will, I guess, they become Aurora God or whatever.
I don't know, but she the idea.
So
that,
they're like, now we have a time frame, because now they're like, oh no, the Aurora's going away, and this is when the rest of the movie is just these two girls jumping to the wildest conclusions with no basis, and everybody else just being, mostly Aunt Ginger Snaps being like, whatever, I got wine.
Yeah, the cool thing, she goes back to see the cool aunt. She's like, all right, we need somebody else on our team. Let's go talk to my aunt, because it looked like there was a glimmer of hope there.
Yeah, and
so
there was.
She shows up, and she, like, has this moment where she's like, hey, remember that time where your thong got frozen to the bench at that one Christmas party? That's how I know you're my aunt. And she's like, well, that thong did get frozen.
And Aunt Ginger Snap goes, yup.
Yeah, pretty much.
No
she's
more
like,
convincing.
She's like, I knew that thong would bring people together eventually.
Yeah. So, and it's just such a, like, I get it. You got to get the crew together, but I think the fact that they just didn't say Christmas magic, and they made it so complicated. I was still reeling from that, being like, what is this? And so basically they also decide, well, I killed the angel in that reality. Then his vengeful spirit became the Aurora and sent me here. So I have to just kill him again.
I have to kill the angel
Which
again.
is like, what would that... But, well, specifically, because at first, she thinks, obviously, the angel is still Henry Waters. But where are we getting this logic? Why would that mean that? Why would killing this guy, the guy that you killed that made the evil Aurora God that is mad at you, why would you killing him again while he watches... make him
grant you another wish? Yeah, I don't understand.
Like, it didn't. I was like, okay, this is where the writing was just like, because we gotta.
It felt like the Green Knight.
Yeah.
Just like, wait, you come back?
Yeah. And so, yeah, we recruit Aunt Ginger Snaps, and this is where we get that really dramatic scene where Winnie's like, I gotta get my dad, because my dad's he'll help. So she tries to convince him by, like, this time saying, like, oh, well, I just knew Jimmy. Like, we were friends and stuff.
Hey, remember when I invaded your home, like, yesterday and, like, called you dad and, like, was looking for my brother, your dead son? If I was him and she walked back into my house, I'd be like, hold on, let me call
the because, police. Again, he's being so dramatic. Like, she was like, where's Billy? He's like, is this a sick fucking joke? Are you... My son's been dead for... It's, like, so fucking intense. And then we just get more of it where, like, he's like, sometimes I can still see his face in the window at Christmas. And you're like, oh my God.
I remember when he was playing the sports game and he did so good. And she's like, yeah, he threw 6 touchdowns.
It was a pretty good Christmas
game.
It was a
good Christmas game.
And then she's like, And that's why I'm here with this presentation, because I need you to help kill your best friend and boss, Henry Waters, because he killed your son. So she's being a goofus.
Yeah.
Because at this point, Winnie, her character is like so all over. You never know how she's going to react. She's like watching like Woody Woodpecker like go around, and again, Joel McHale's character like freaks out. And then Storm tells her, get out of this house. And it's really funny because she, like, runs 2 feet out the door and then just, like, slumps against the wall, And he's like, he told you to get out. He can see you from his desk.
You're still in the house. Yeah.
But then, Bernie comforts her. They go downstairs and they're like, hey, Aunt, like, we still need your help, right? And then they go outside, but then the aunt needs to, like, go back inside. And so they all go in again. And this is after Joel McHale you hear him, like, storm out, and, like, the mom, while she's, like, fucking the other guy, like, has, like, a pithy comment about her, my husband's not so tough, don't let him yell at you like that. And I'm like, what is this character? But then when we come back into the house, and Ginger Snaps is like, and you see a shot of the angel who is just like stabbed the absolute like shit out of the mom, like slit her throat and just like gutting her, and then like toss her aside. And then we get like a little chase scene. We get a little Scream style chase scene.
With the worst conclusion. It's so fucking drawn out and like
it takes so long because Winnie like turns around, grabs a painting off the wall, like cartoon style, like slams it over the angel's head, who falls down the stairs and is knocked unconscious. And then we get like a fucking like it feels like a 30-minute scene of the 3 of them like slowly stepping over him because he's in front of the front door and they need to get there. And it's like 1 foot, 2, and it's like it's so drawn out, and you're like, why are we doing this?
It's insane. Like it could have been like a 30 seconds top, and it's like 3 minutes of them like slowly creeping over the passed out,
and then
angel.
One of them checks to see, and she's like, oh, he's still breathing. I'm like, well, then you have a solution to this problem. Just stab him. I was like, Winnie, you already killed him once.
You came
and for all you know, this reality isn't even real. So kill whoever you want in this one. You're going home anyway.
Yeah, fuck it.
So why she didn't like just instantly just go like, even without unmasking him first, it's just like, this is the angel. It's killing people. It's trying to kill you. You already did this once. Just done. Yeah. Like it should be so simple. I don't know why that didn't happen. But then she decides to unmask him, and it's her dad. And I'm like, I guess that's like twistier, but still, there's only like 2 men in the movie.
It's twistier, but it also makes me like really suspect later when she goes home to the world where like she was born.
Your dad is like very unstable.
Yeah, it's
right?
like cool. Like, wait, hold on. You need to take your dad to therapy, because if he was in this short period of time able to be convinced like, oh, I should become like a prolific mass serial killer.
Yeah, it's wild.
Just to expand the real estate empire that I've inherited.
Yeah. So after that, they get away. They go somewhere. But we also get I forgot to talk about the one part. It's not that important. We go back
to the movie theater.
Well, at some point, Winnie earlier on, she goes back to the party house, and that's what I was talking about, where now that she's there, like the 2 drug friends that were like, oh, happy gummy bears, yummy, now they're just straight up doing meth.
Yeah.
But the one male drug friend is the one who gets the really, really cool death. He gets like chopped up with an axe to the beat of the Carol of the Bells, and fucking needed to bring it up again because that scene's the best part of the movie, I think.
Good kill scene, yeah.
And it's not even, again, with a character that even matters, too. It's so funny.
What I like is they're outside in the backyard fighting. He's fighting with the angel who's, like, chopping him up with an axe. And you get the, like, really hardcore Carol of the Bells. And then there's one shot that's, like, a static shot in the kitchen, in the party. And
it's like a different low volume Christmas song.
Yeah, different Christmas song. And, through the window, you can see them getting like chopped up.
It's pretty awesome. It's pretty good. That's like a really well filmed part.
The only other weird thing I got to flag at this party is that there's like 1 billion people tongue fucking in this party. There's so many people
sex and meth, dude,
making out hardcore at a party, and like we've all been there.
Well, it sounds bad now. This is what happens.
It's just it's insane how many people are just like, let's just make out in front of this room of other people.
The whole town's depressed. People fuck a lot when they're depressed.
It's
and they go
crazy.
nuts too. They don't have like normal calm sex either. They're tongue fucking. Like, but yeah. So then, again, after this annoying staircase scene, they go to barricade the movie theater and make their like final stand there. They like lay a stupid trap where they take the mannequins with the wigs on and like line them up in the like the angel's gonna assume like, oh, they must have just went to see a movie.
Yeah.
Got him. Like, what kind of fucking trap is this? But right as like the trap is about to be sprung, Winnie's got like a baseball bat or something, or a broom that she's gonna whack the guy with. But then it's just her shitty ex-boyfriend and the other shitty friend. But then, like, I guess she realizes that they're like, it's like their third year anniversary, and like without her there, they got together sooner, and like they're nice and happy, and
Yeah, and they're like better off together.
together. So I guess, when he's like, another reason for me not to exist. This is not helping me.
Yeah, she's like, okay, well, that's great. I'm glad you were happy.
But then, like, the aunt, she's like, "Oh darn! I thought we had him." And then she storms out, and then she comes back in, and she's bleeding all over because off screen the angel got her. And I'm like, "No, you were the best part of the movie," because she really is having a good time. The actress that on Ginger Snaps, she like showed up almost like she drank that big bottle of wine she was waiting on. She was like, "I'm just gonna have one of my own before it," and then she's just hanging out. She's just there, having a fun time.
What I really like is this next sequence. I think this next sequence was my favorite part of the movie because she's like got her camera and she's in the movie theater. The lights are the power's been turned off. So she's trying to run away from the angel who is like slicing and dicing his way across her ex-boyfriend and the other girl.
Yeah.
And so like we get it in like almost Texas Chainsaw opening style where it's like camera flashes.
Yeah. It is
It's
pretty
making
cool.
a really intense like.
Yeah, it's sort of like when what's her face in Your Next gets that basement kill by using the flash from the camera. Although it just doesn't like the logic again doesn't really make any sense because they want to not be murdered by him. They want to get him, but they want to not be murdered by him. If like he's just a guy, he's as blind as you are in this
In the dark
theater.
Yeah.
So you like like to like light up where exactly you are doesn't seem like the best idea, but it doesn't matter because the power at the last like second, Bernie gets the power back on, and Winnie is able to get away. And there's this weird moment where the "Let's all go to the movies" like thing starts playing, but it's it's the intermission part, so it's the "Let's all go to the lobby." But then right after that plays, Bernie like yells, and she's like, "You have to get to the lobby," and I'm like, this is like weird editing because it's like. Was that always your plan to lead him there, or are you just like listening to the
Right? Are you just taking the popcorn's advice?
Yeah, it's like the popcorn and the soda say go to the lobby, so she's like, "Oh, go to the lobby."
There's a singing candy bar. It's like divine inspiration.
It just felt the editing was super weird. But it was funny. I mean, it's making me laugh now thinking about it. But yeah, when he runs around like the staircase. So you can't see her. And
she has a snapped off broom handle from fighting him.
Yeah, and the angel like runs around the corner and like dives, but then like dives into the broom handle.
That move, I thought that move was really cool.
It's
and
rad.
Like, a really good like final girl move because she like runs up this like it's like a super tight turn in a stairwell.
And
so
you're
she
expecting
lays
like
down.
Yeah, she lays down on the stairs
and holds the broom out, and he
like
just
she's
turns.
expecting a cavalry charge. Dude.
Yeah,
it's like she's like, "Gah!"
It's like a fucking lanceman. But he like turns the corner and like impales himself on it.
Because he's expecting he's got to do the whole final girl chase. Like she's gonna run really far, so I gotta whip around this. But nope, right into it. I actually would like to see that same move implemented in like a different movie.
I thought it was a sick move.
Yeah.
I was like, oh fuck, laying down on this. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, they never expect you to stop. They expect you to be running still. So it's a good, really keep them on their toes.
But then again,
and this is her dad. But she like she like takes the mask off, and he's like laying there, and he's got like this weird like photoshopped in like glare in his eyes. It's not quite the vampire. It's not quite the vampire glow.
It's like this white, kind of bluish white over his eyes that kind of like
disappears as he like takes his dying breath. It's also just weird that, you know, we're supposed to like, you know, Winnie's supposed to be this character she's so traumatized by the death of her friend and she's sad and misunderstood. She like gets really on board for just like murdering her father. Like, no problem. Yeah. I know that she's aware that it's a different universe, but not enough that it mattered like earlier, you know, but like now she's fine with killing this Adam. It's like, you'd think like because she's such like a traumatized, like the thought of I have to kill my father would have been more of like a a moment, you know, like maybe she'd take a beat, but she was like, there's this like goofy like zoom in shot where she's like, let's go kill my not dad. Like it was like a Disney Channel show zooming in on her, and it's like after this break. It felt, I was like, okay, like, no, not even gonna touch on that one.
But then she goes out, she's like, cool, well, you know what? I've killed the angel, so I should be able to get my wish. Her and Bernie run down to the marina again.
The Borealis is on low battery. It's yellow now. It is. It literally is on low battery. It's very funny. And, you know, before she goes, this is where we have like another quote deep character moment, because we find out, you know, Bernie is like, hey, I'm so glad we got to spend this time together. Like, you really, you know, you saw me. And this is where Bernie reveals that this was going to be her last Christmas. We get a casual trigger warning, like suicide threat, where she's like, I was going to off myself after Christmas, but now you've shown me that I matter, and you know, so now I'm just not. I'm immediately off of contemplation.
Which is crazy. You ever have that where like you break up with someone and they're like, I'm gonna kill myself? And
no,
like, no,
I feared that's what it was gonna be like.
Don't do that.
But luckily it wasn't. Yeah, but it's just so it again, tonally, this movie's crazy because you're just gonna drop that in, like, she, in theory. Now I know the structure of stories goes a different way. In theory, she's leaving right now, and you're just gonna drop that on the whole audience, right as she's like, "All right, bye, bye. You didn't kill yourself." It's crazy. And this is why I was saying, like, I think it needed to cook a little more. I think it feels like the whole movie kind of feels like the first draft. You know,
I feel
no
like
edits, first draft.
Yeah, I feel like there's a way to like take the script, do another pass over it, and like connect some dots in a better way.
Yeah,
and like maybe set things up a little better and like waste less time in the beginning.
I think there's a much better movie in here somewhere.
Yeah,
using all the same
ingredients,
dressings and ingredients. But yeah, it was just like such a. I'm like, oh. But that's kind of serious. We just had like a really goofy, like 40 minutes, you know.
And just when you think the movie's gonna end, no. Now doesn't work.
The Borealis won't go bring her home, and she gets really mad. What am I gonna do if I'm stuck in this? I murdered so many people. The cops are gonna look for me. No, but like, and then we hear over the loudspeakers. There's like a big town event happening.
There's a tree lighting.
So is that what it is? The tree lighting. It's so bizarre because again, now we bring ourselves back to Henry Waters, right? Justin Long's character, and he's doing the whole town is assembled for this tree lighting, and everything's Walmart colors, and he like the whole town. You see the shot of, and the whole town's like 12 people, just so you guys know. They only had so much budget for extras, and this is like the smallest town gathering I've ever seen. Yeah. It would have been more impressive if they could have gotten like, you know, give me like a football field's worth of people, right?
Yeah.
But there's like 15.
That's a lot of day labor, homie.
I know, but I'm just saying it's a very. The movie can see it already CGI'd so much. You can CGI most of the people in the back. But they didn't even try that. They were just like, all right, you 10 guys stand here. It's like, that's how small it looks. But anyway, so he's having this like naughty or nice, this extremely unhinged naughty or nice ceremony where he's like, oh, this family, they were very nice this year. And they like have to come onto stage, give him a gift, which he then immediately throws in the trash.
And, like, they all have that
They're
same
all
weird, hypnotized, like, blue eyeball thing. And I'm like, well, whoa, what are we doing now? What?
Yeah, because either evil Aurora God Justin Long is up there granting powers to his otherworldly self, or like just enough. If you, I mean, I guess this is true. If you just own enough of a city, then people just do whatever you tell them to do. I guess, but they don't have weird eye lights, you know.
Yeah, it's just like he has this like weird like magical thrall over all these people. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah, there's like a line earlier in the movie where that grandpa guy was like, "Justin Long, you just want everyone to be your drones," and it's really weird because then at the end here, Winnie is like, people shouldn't be your drones. It's supposed to be this callback, but I'm like, Winnie wasn't even there when that character said that. So, like, why is she using this word?
She wasn't privy to that conversation at all.
Yeah, so for her to use it, like, as a gotcha to him, like, almost like she knows, oh, he hates when people call them that, you know? Like, it's like, what? Okay, whatever. I know we're calling back, but that's not how you do it. And it's just, like, it's just such a weird scene that doesn't make any sense because he also like has power over these people, except he has two bodyguards who just are on his payroll, so they'll just do what he says.
They're just thugs,
but they're not hypnotized. They're just two goons in the back, unaffected by the hypnosis. But also he doesn't like. He could use right because Winnie and Bernie show up and they're like, "We're gonna stop you," and they have like the knife, and they're like. He's the angel. He's evil. He's doing all this, and all the people are like,
zombie.
And like, he instead of using the horde of people at his control to like, I don't know, tear the main character's limb from limb, you know, he's just like, they say something snarky to him. They have a little bit of a back and forth, the crew, and then Winnie just like punches the shit out of him. And then his bodyguards go to do something. So he has bodyguards that are willing to help that are not hypnotized. And a whole army of people. And he goes, no. He has a funny line where the guard tries to grab him. He's like, no, don't touch me. It's cashmere.
It's fucking cashmere.
It's really funny. He's hamming it up big time, and it's great. But like he's like, no, I'll take care of them. Don't insult me. And it's like, okay, well, then you don't even, like, your classic villain foil, right?
They hook off on him. Bernie and Winnie hook off on him like they're fucking Scott Pilgrim characters. It's just like right hook, uppercut, right hook.
Yeah, it's like they're in the practice level of Street Fighter, right? They're like, the computer, no moves. You just stand there and I'll beat the shit out of you.
They beat the shit out of him and knock him off stage.
They like dual uppercut him off off the stage into the crowd, and then the crowd suddenly is not hypnotized anymore. I don't know why. Is it because he got beat up? Is it because no one... Is it like reverse Santa powers? Like nobody believes in him anymore? He got ashamed, so now people are like, oh, he's kind of a pussy.
They've lost confidence in him.
And so he loses all his fairy dust, and they're like, oh, I'm susceptible now. And then the whole town, I guess, eats him? I don't know. Because
they descend on him like a zombie movie.
Yeah, and then you just don't... Whatever. We're not sticking around long enough to examine that anyway. It's really, really weird.
The only thing we get is that like the Aurora Borealis like kicks off and it's like, you did the thing.
And and again, why? Why does killing this guy again send you back to where you came from? This doesn't teach her anything.
What's crazy? It if you pay attention, it doesn't send her back. It just grants her a wish. So she could have been like, I wish for a super soaker, and she probably would have got that too.
Right. Okay, so I guess that's it. It's not like it's like that's the whole thing. This movie like just doesn't. It takes the very basic concept of It's a Wonderful Life and then just doesn't do anything with the rest of it.
No.
There's a rich guy trying to buy up a town, like you said, is the only through line between both movies. Is a shitty rich guy.
It feels like you ripped the like skeleton out of It's a Wonderful Life and then had a bunch of It's a Wonderful Knife ingredients on the floor.
Yeah.
And you kind of just like dipped the skeleton in those ingredients.
All
and they were
I'm saying,
like, ha-ha!
All I'm saying, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, it's not a fulfilling plot anymore.
No.
Because there's no reason she doesn't change because there's no changing because she's fluid the whole movie anyway. You never know how she's going to act.
Mm-hmm.
So she doesn't learn anything because that's the whole point of the original movie is he learns why he matters. But there's a joke there or because the two Bernie and Winnie like make a joke about like, hey, will you like I think Bernie says, like, you're my... What's the name of the Wonderful Life guy?
George Bailey.
Yeah, she's like, "You're my George Bailey," and then Winnie's like, "Oh, then you must be my Clarence," and we're like, "Oh, we're self-aware. I get it."
Yeah, yeah.
And then later, when they do the whole Bernie does the reveal, she's like, "You were my Clarence," and I'm like, "Okay, I get it. That's like a good idea, but that was not explored enough in this movie."
No,
like,
it was not evident.
It's like that could have been like a cool twist, but it just unearned it like didn't come out with a bang or anything.
In name only. It was like they gave themselves their own nickname. It was like, no, we're not doing that. We're not here for that.
So it's like, I get it. They've already like basically said like, well, Winnie wasn't one that needed to change anyway. And I'm like, then we should have seen more of the other girl, because my main characters get nothing. All she has learned is that like, oh, I need to save my brother because it doesn't matter if I'm alive. It just, I need to be alive long enough to save him. Otherwise, that's why
he needs to be alive, not me.
Because he's the reason everyth's shitty. Like, everything like started with the downfall of that family because that guy died. The world was like exactly the same without her until he died. He's like, so what is she learns nothing, and the movie's mean to her, really. So like, it's like, why? And also, yeah, why? Just to go back to David, you're so devastated over the death of your son that and it's not like he didn't know who the killer was, because we find out that he's like, because Justin Long says, yes, with my thrall powers, I was able to, I killed his son and I convinced him to kill more for me to see the town grow. And I'm like, how'd that conversation go?
Be like, hey, remember when your son died? That was me. Also, now you have to do that job for me. It's like,
why though?
Why?
And it's like, just because the movie said is basically it. It's like, how does this, again, logical leaps all over the place. Nothing makes any sense. Our character learns nothing.
But she gets big hot smooch.
She gets, right as she's being like fairy dusted back to her own reality, the two characters like make eye contact and then like lunge for each other, and we get a big glowy smooch, like what should have happened at the end of Avatar: Legend of Korra between her and Asami. We should have got that.
Okay, sure. Okay, all right,
but it didn't. We got it in this movie, though.
I didn't get to see it. I won't get my hopes up now.
Don't. And so now
she wakes up,
but also, you know what I'm talking about with the, you know me, big lesbian fan.
Big fan.
Documented many times on this podcast.
Supporter. Ally?
Oh, yeah. Fan, ally, whatever they need from me. But, like...
Simp?
Whatever. I'll do it all. And except sleep with them. But it just felt so... like, again, like unearned or like unexplored previously in the movie. Like, I know they've been kind of like making gaga eyes at each other, but it's also like just kindred, could be chalked up to like kindred spirit kind of thing. Like, they're meant to be friends. Not that I'm like, they have to be friends. I don't want, it's not like I'm down for it, but it just felt like we probably should have had like more of this. I don't know. It just felt like, oh yeah, we'll throw it in just for good measure.
Yeah.
It's not like a movie that needed a love.
Here's the thing. When she wakes up the next morning...
I think it would be more wholesome if the movie was just like, hey, we're friends and you helped me not kill myself. I think we're throwing lust and stuff in there and it's going to get all messy.
It could be love.
It is love.
They experience love, Matt.
I know, but I'm saying, listen, I'm post this movie, the relationship's going to be rocky for a little bit. It's going to be a very roller coaster ride for the both of them.
So,
well, also because Winnie, not saying there's not bisexual girls, bisexual people exist, they're real. But she also like had her boyfriend, and she seemed pretty upset that she didn't get to be with her boyfriend at first anymore. Like, she was upset that he was cheating on her
initially, but it was kind of like okay, pile it onto the shit that's going on in my life pile. Yeah. Like, fuck you, great.
Yeah, it just also like there's just no exploration. Not that we like need it. I don't know. It just felt. I was like, all right. Yeah, throw that in there too. The movie's already all over the place.
Here's the thing. They should have saved that smooch for the next morning, because she wakes up and then she's like, she sees that her family's back to normal. Her brother's alive. Her parents are like, hey, we brought you that tracksuit, but here's like a nice camera so you don't feel like a total piece of shit. Like,
and they're like, oh, yeah, obviously the next day after they've already like gone out of their way to make their daughter like feel like a complete worthless piece of garbage. then they're like, oh, you know what? We realized we did that, and I guess we're kind of sorry. Here's a camera, still in my car. Here's a camera.
So she's just getting comfortable with like, oh, okay, my life's back normal.
Did you say she woke up in that crazy tracksuit?
She is wearing the pink tracksuit again.
And she wakes up in that tracksuit and a fully made up, like lipstick unseen on her throughout this movie, like caked on fucking makeup. Her hair's straightened. It's like, who did this to you while you were asleep? Did your mom do this?
Face fucking beat with makeup.
Yeah.
she's about to go out. But she's like waking up in bed with this.
Her
makeup.
parents like make a joke about how they assume she just drank a lot last night, and they're like, you get one night like that, you're still underage, but you can have a hangover today.
So
and
I'm like, trying to say that like she didn't wash her makeup off from the night before.
I was just thinking, like, what did they like try to prank her by like, oh, we'll undress her and then we'll put her in this gaudy suit that we bought her, and then we'll straighten her hair and do all her makeup for it, and she's gonna wake up and not know what the fuck happened. She's gonna feel like she got date raped. Isn't that gonna be funny on Christmas? Like, is that what their plan was?
It's just so weird.
It would make sense based on how they treated her the night before. They're just waiting for her to be like,
Christmas
what happened
pranks.
to me? But yeah, so she wakes up. She's all happy about Christmas. She's like, my family, my brother's not. He's undead now. And
she's like, oh fuck, my new girlfriend's about to kill herself.
Yeah, she's like sits down with her family, like she's about to be like the like I can see the like circle close in, like coming in, and then she's like, my friend that was gonna kill herself. It's like a Ferris Bueller skit. Like, we gotta get out of here. She like, and it is because she's running down the street like, oh, this town's not as shitty anymore. It's still kind of shitty, but it's less than it was.
And like the people she runs into
are not characters we've seen before or anything, which would be nice.
They are.
Oh no, one. Yeah, we see Drug Girl.
She finds a drug girl and she's like, oh, you're just smoking weed. Like, cool, that's great. And she's like, what the fuck, like. And then she runs into her ex, who in this world, like,
oh yeah,
just cheated on her, and like,
she's like, I forgive you. You two are cute together. Anyway. Yeah, bye bye. It's like we do run through a couple.
Find anyone else who had like a little bit more like consequential like difference in their life?
Because there wasn't.
No,
it was none. Just the only difference in her going having not been born was just that her brother died, and then 27 other people died. And that was the consequence. It's like she didn't affect. That's the other problem is we in the original movie we get a whole life, right? We get his whole life and all the people that he influenced. This movie isn't positing like, look at how you've influenced everybody from the day you were born until now. It's just like you did one thing important at one like crucial moment in time.
Yeah.
So it's like not like your whole life matters. It's like you just needed to be here to do this one thing. It was just like not
the point of your life is to kill this man so your brother survives.
Yeah, like you get trauma, and he gets a truck,
a big truck,
is basically what this movie is saying. But yeah, so she makes it. She runs after like briefly stopping to chat with people, even though she knows she's on kind of a tight deadline theoretically. Right? She's like, oh, I'll just stop real quick and I'll dance and I'll look at the stores that are, oh shit, fuck, I gotta go. You know, it's like one of those things. And then she makes it there and she gives the whole speech, the same speech from earlier on the thing. She's like, you matter, Winnie, you matter. And you're like, oh yeah, I guess that, you know, because like she's back to her normal time, so she's not gonna remember, so they'll have to like rekindle their friendship. Like that'll be, you know, a fun thing to think about. But then she just like, the friend immediately is like making this face and then just breaks. And she's like, no, I remember. And I'm like, for why? What logic is this?
This is where you do the kiss.
This would
not
have been
before. Not before. This is where she's like, oh, you do remember. Okay. And then it's kind of like a waiting moment. And then they both kind of confirm like, yeah, bro, let's get it on.
Yeah, or instead of like laughing, they'd be like, I remember. Then she like sneaks in for the kiss. And then it's like, oh, you do that? Yeah, you're right. Better writing. Another pass could have caught that, you know?
Yeah.
But we only went with one. And actually, you know why the whole movie feels like this? It's because it was like a first pass thing. Because this movie was shot and finished in 60 days.
I mean, that sounds pretty reasonable. That's not unheard of. That's like pretty normal production speed for things like this.
I think it's pretty quick. I don't know. It seems like to be for everything.
You're telling me it was written and finished within 60 days?
I don't know about that.
Okay. If it was just
Feels like it.
production 60 days, that's 2 months. Like it's a little quick, but like it's a pretty much like single location.
Yeah, it's not a lot of different.
There's like a couple different spots around town, but it's not like they're like
Yeah.
jet setting around the world to like film this
Well,
movie.
yeah, but yeah. So it sure feels like it was the writing also happened in there at some point. But yeah,
If you're telling me they produced the movie in 60 days and they were writing the script on napkins every day, then I'm like, okay, that makes sense.
But yeah, so like, and that's where the movie ends. She's like, I'm so happy that you remember everything, and you're gonna get dressed, and we're gonna go back to my house, then we're gonna go to that movie theater, and we're probably gonna fuck there because no one will mess with us. But yeah, but it's just like, what? Why does she remember? It would have been interesting to think about, like, oh, like we see like a little bit of like, the girl was desperate for friends anyway, so it's not like she's gonna rebuff her. It would have been saying like, oh, like now they'll relearn, and then you can like continue the characters' journeys in your head and be like, oh, it's nice things to think about after the movie. No, they're like, meh.
All I'm saying is, for Bernie, if she wants to have a positive and well-balanced relationship, she should probably not just go like, yes, I'm madly in love with the first person in town who was nice to me.
Yes, and then also now this is what I'm saying. Now the relationship is being like encroached upon by this trauma dump that is like basically contingent on Winnie remaining there because it's like now she's in the if you leave I'll kill myself sort of zone, and this is not where we want our friends to be.
Yeah,
right?
you should not establish your mutual relationship on the threat of suicide.
No. Bernie's character actually, she's fine because she says, no, you can leave, I'll be fine. I'll be fine.
No, just go ahead. Just go
I'll be
back to
fine.
the I'll be fine.
Because she does. She
I'll be
says
fine.
because she tells her she was going to kill herself as she's like about to leave. Right?
Uh-huh.
Presumably they think like, oh, we killed my dad. Now I get to leave. So she says it, and when he's like, should I go? Do you need me? And she's like, no, it's fine. I'm good. I made a friend. I did it.
I made one friend.
I made a friend. I could make another. Thank you.
Made one friend who's about to forget everything. Bye.
But yeah, so that's the movie. There's like some definite like huge flaws, but I mean overall, it's like a goofy. You put it on while you're decorating the tree or baking cookies or I don't know, whatever generic Christmas stuff you're gonna do that you put movies on for. There's certainly like the list of movies that people watch around Christmas is so wild in quality anyway, so that it just slots right in somewhere in the middle.
Oh, and she comes back to this supposedly better timeline. Her mom still sucks. Her mom is still awful.
But it's like
her mom is like a soulless, like Christmas decoration of a human anyway.
But you know what? If like you had to pick though, if the options were like,
if I want trad mom or alcoholic mom, I think I want alcoholic mom.
The one who's bringing in all of the like, she was already dry. I'm sure I'm sure it was less Justin Long and more this guy was like, I'm gonna kill my wife anyway. I might as well just do. I might as well kill all these other people Justin Long wants me to kill. He just saved her for second to last was all. But yeah, that's it's a wonderful knife. I say just put it on. It's worth watching. It's bad.
You know what's crazy? Like,
but it does stuff that it got the opposite thing going on from Five Nights at Freddy's. At least when it's being bad, there's stuff going on that you want to keep watching it for.
At the beginning of this, I said it was maybe like a 6 or 7, but like really going back over it, like it is. You're right. It is a 4.
It's a 4. It's a fat 4, dude. It's not good. There's a lot of problems.
This is the first movie on like reappraising on the show. I've been like, wait, no, this movie is way worse.
Yeah, that's what this is for. We're giving you the deep. We're giving you guys, you listeners, the deep dive, the analysis. But we're learning a lot about ourselves as we go too. We're growing with you. We're growing with you too. So, it's good that we can, it's good that we have the ability to reevaluate, from movie to movie and just, day to day.
Yeah.
I think that's what's important.
I think the takeaway from this movie is we're both LGBTQ allies.
Mm-hmm. Simps.
I don't know about that. I don't know about Sims, but allies for sure. We are against real estate development, and we are
anti-Burgermeister.
Anti-Burgermeister for sure, and still hate Christmas.
Well, some of us hate Christmas less than the other, but but we're here for you. We're here for the Christmas lovers. We're here for the Christmas haters, and I don't know, whatever fits in between that. The ones who really stand Thanksgiving and Breast Cancer Awareness Month. All right, well, that's all from us here at the Devil's Cut. We'll catch you later, Beelzebuds. Until then, keep it real.
What the fuck is Rankin Bass?
They're the people who do the old stop motion.
Oh, what rabbit hole took you down there?
The Christmas rabbit hole.
Oh,
The holiday spirit took my hand, guided me to Rankin Bass. Said hello.
Jack Frost came out, went bink bink bink, and fucking
The Heat Miser showed up, and we were like, "Get out of here!" I've never actually seen that one with the Heat Miser and Jack Frost.
a year without a Santa Claus.
Yeah, I've seen parts of it, right? But I've never sat and watched it. It was one. We didn't have the VHS of it. We had all the other ones. So that was one that was just I just never saw it. So I don't know how it slipped by, but
Do you understand why they're there talking to those guys?
who? What?
Heat Miser and Cold Miser?
No, why? It's because there's no Santa Claus.
Well, they have to. Santa and one of the reindeers are in prison.
Whoa. Doing a hard time?
Yeah, they're in jail, so they have to prove to this mayor that he is Santa by performing a Christmas miracle. And in order to do that Christmas miracle, they go to the Heat Miser first, I think. And they're I think they go to the Cold Miser first. And they're like, hey, we gotta it's gotta snow in the South. You're the snow guy. Make it happen. He's like, my brother will never go for that shit. You gotta go deal with my brother. So then they go to the Heat Miser, and he's like, snow in the South on Christmas? Go fuck yourself. So they get into an argument. He's like, all right, well, if it's gonna snow in the South, then it's gotta be hot in the North. And he's like, what the fuck are you talking about, hot in the North? So then they have to go above and beyond, and Mrs. Claus steps in, and she's like, all right, I'm gonna go talk to your mother. And they're like, not
in jail,
not our mother, please. So they Skype in on the wall. They just video chat in Mother Nature, and she's like, boys, stop being pieces of shit, and you just do Mrs. Claus a favor so we can get her husband out of jail.
Okay. I did not know that was. I kind of thought it was a just from what I know of Jack Frost and the Heat Miser, doesn't look like a very pleasant guy. I thought it was sort of like a power
Jack Frost
grab
isn't
sort
even
of,
in that movie.
Who is it then? What is his?
His name is
the cold guy.
The Snow Miser.
It's the Snow Miser and the cold.
The Heat Miser and the Snow Miser.
Why wouldn't they
Cold
just
Miser?
use Jack
Yeah,
Frost?
because Jack Frost is in a different movie with Kubla Khan.
Right. What's Mother Nature look like? This is a whole different.
That's Wikipedia Mother Nature.
That's not gonna help me.
She looks like a kindly old woman.
A kindly old woman. It is the Snow Miser, the Heat Miser, and the Snow Miser. I always thought it was Jack Frost and the Heat Miser.
No.
See, that's how little I've seen the movie. Wow, that would really.
Have you ever seen Rudolph's Rockin' New Year? You want to hear even crazier? Rudolph, Baby New Year, Father Time loses Baby New Year in a time portal thing, and then Rudolph has to go through like storybook land to find
Oh my god. Look at
Baby
this
New
thing.
Year.
This is it?
That's not it. That's
okay.
something else. Maybe it's not Rock New Year. There it is.
Oh
Shiny
my
New Year.
God.
Look up Baby New Year from Shiny New Year. Oh, he's right on the right side with the top hat. Scroll down. Right there.
Oh my god.
And he's got giant ears.
Whoa!
And everyone laughs at his giant ears, and it makes him self-conscious. So
You don't
then
think it's a dragon? So
he doesn't get a dragon. He
He-
just
this-
meets a dragon.
I'm gonna save this and I'm gonna put I'm gonna tweet it later. I'm gonna put the trailer for House of Dragon season 2 just dropped.
It's pretty good. But they meet the three bears in this. And Ben Franklin, if you look on the immediate left when you scroll down. That's
Wow.
historical Ben Franklin.
That one, I've never heard of this one. This
Look
one
up
goes
Father
places.
Time too. Father Time's got a really great design.
From the same one.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
The one spurt of red hair on top is so bizarre.
It makes me really uncomfortable actually to look at this. Is
The one shot of him waving is terrifying. Ho ho!
he's a sex pest. He's a little
He looks like the guy who was in charge of Children of God, the incest cult.
I would believe. Oh well, here we go.
I think there's a lot of
That's them, right? That's,
Yeah, that's
the Children of God. This is a cult right here. This is a cult picture.
yeah.
You slap this right next to Jonestown.
I was thinking slap it right next to the guy from 30 Seconds to Mars. Jared Leto. Put the Jared Leto cult photos right next to that one.
In this day and age, I think it's crazy that you can think of the band he was in before his.
I have
He's
to
evolved so far
separate
past
the
it.
art and the artist to appreciate 30 Seconds to Mars anymore.
All right. We have to start this now.
Okay, let me see if